Hi everybody, I'm Jack. This is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. It's a Saturday under the Rancho. Now it's overcast today. There's a nice little breeze going out here. It feels pretty good. And I'm pretty much camped out here for the day. So I think, in my little chair, you always see me sitting in here. This thing spreads out, so I kind of got my own outdoor couch. So I will probably be stretching out here to take a nap at some point this afternoon. Anyhow, there was some to do last week, and all the usual suspects were up in arms. Sports Illustrated called somebody a plus-size model, and everything was a buzz on social media. The usual approach, the usual blah, blah, blah. And a lot of it I agreed with, but it was just so, what was expected. It's like the masters, the people in charge, do things to get a reaction out of the masses, and they usually get the reaction they want. So I thought I would talk about, with all this talk, and I've seen a few things, the ideal female body. So I just thought I'd share with you guys my opinion of what is the ideal female body. So I will pronounce that right now. So get ready to know what it is. I will define it and what it is, and then from now on you'll know what the ideal female body is. I'm joking with you. Even the term ideal female body, we've had ideals throughout history of, females. There's always been more of the pressure on females and more of the focus on how the female looks than the male. But, throughout history, it's changed. It's changed many times over, and it's changed drastically. I think the biggest thing that I would say to women as a man is you buy into this. You let them twirl you around all the time by all this marketing and all the things they're throwing out at you. And people get angry at magazines like Sports Illustrated. They get angry at other magazines and media outlets that display these unrealistic looking women in realistic looking women's opinions. I don't know. I don't really get into it. I don't pay a whole lot of attention. I don't really scrutinize. I don't know how unrealistic a lot of these women's bodies are. But still, you're being sucked into what they have out there for you. In other words, there's, I don't want to sound like the ultimate conspiracy nut, because I follow a lot of people and I just can't follow them, even though I believe a lot of what they believe, because it's just constantly one conspiracy after another. But there's like a lot of things that we don't like in society that don't seem to be connected, that are connected. It always goes back to the money. If you want to know anything about anything, follow the money. And what all this stuff does, even women that will not say they don't participate in this, they're horrified by this, it's a bad thing to be setting out, they play the game. You buy the Spanx, you take the selfies from the perfect angle, you buy the billions of dollars of cosmetics that these power people, the people that are in charge of things, are putting in your path, that you have to do these things. You're being falsely told, you're supposed to look like, like we're humans. I don't think we're supposed to look like anything other than how we as individuals choose to look. Even, of course, I advocate a healthy lifestyle, and I think a healthy lifestyle will lead to a certain type of body. But, in the end, that's your choice, and you kind of get what you get when you look to society's views on things like this, or you look to society's approval, or maybe psychologically you're waiting for that tide to shift when everybody gets all loves, hugs, and unicorns, and people talk about realistic expectations for women. Not expectations, but just realistic talk of how women's appearance is. What do I consider an ideal female body? Because I've been in gyms. I've worked on a nude beach 20 years ago. I've spent a good deal of time in France, where people don't wear very much. The Europeans don't wear a lot when they go to the beach. So I've seen bodies, and that's like, what is the ideal female body? Well, like I say, there's no ideal female body to me, but things that always impress me, and I thought about that this morning. I was out early just taking a walk, and I saw this young lady run by. Now, she wasn't model look. In other words, like, she didn't have small waist, popping butt, boobs, blah, 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 but she was solid. She was running, and I'm like, and as I was thinking about this talk here, I was thinking, now see, that's what I'm talking about right there. She's not going to ever be a model. nobody's going to want to try to take her photo for a magazine, but she was very attractive to me because she was doing something fit, and her body reflected that. She was running. She looked like an athlete. She didn't look like an elite athlete. I mean, it wasn't like she was chiseled or whatever, but she was in good shape. She wasn't perfect. She wasn't flawless, but her body looked fit, and it looked functional. And that was very attractive to me. That's what always I find, I wouldn't even say attractive in the sense of like, I'm attracted to that, because we can say this in the sense of I respect this body the same way I would respect another male's body. I like fit looking, but a functional fitness. It's not, I mean, I do. I like a good core, and you're not, there's nothing wrong if you got a six-pack, but that's not the most important thing. I mean, I've seen lots of women that just, and even they're carrying a little bit more weight, but they have a fit look. They carry themselves well. They have good posture. Just the way, they look like they could they look like they could be very physical. As you can tell, I like the fitness, I like the physical, but I'm not necessarily talking about what you would think, like what you would see in a fitness magazine, the perfect, with a lot of those women, they have a lot of fake parts too. No, I'm talking about real women that just exercise and try to keep themselves fit, and really like the ones that do, that do sorts of exercises that actually lead to fitness, not just the endless sculpting with like light dumbbells or whatever, because to be honest, that's good. I mean, anything that's weight bearing is good for your bones, but that's not necessarily leading to ultimate fitness. But like the running, there's a lot of girls down here that surf. Now there are some girls that are model looking that surf, but there's a lot of girls that are just like guys. They don't have the classic, hourglass figure. They don't have all the curves going on, but they're very fit, and I totally respect that a lot. Another thing I like a lot, and I noticed this in other cultures than my own, which I'm white Caucasian, there don't seem to be as many body image issues amongst other places where I've traveled, or other ethnic groups, whatever. I know the Latinas down here, I've talked about that before, and that's what I like. I like a woman that has confidence, that carries her body with confidence too. Like, even women that don't look that healthy, there's some Latinas down here that will rock a tiny bathing suit, and they don't get into any of all this stuff, they would just kind of laugh, when people like get into all the issues of fat shaming and body image and all that. They just they live their life. They got confidence. They walk with confidence. I've seen, I think I mentioned in a video one day, I was videoing some surf, and there was this woman maybe about 30 feet away from me, and she had one of the littlest, smallest thongs on. I mean, this was a tiny bathing suit. I could have fit that bathing suit in this little pocket here. And she wasn't being vulgar, and she wasn't trying to, be sexy and show off, but she walked. She owned that beach. She owned that beach because she wasn't self-conscious that she had carried a few extra pounds on her. She just, she went to the beach to have a good time. She was confident in herself. She was comfortable in her own skin, and that's an attractive thing. That's something you've got to respect. I'm a people watcher. I think us loners are always people watchers, and even with good-looking females, I just never have been. I think the least attractive thing in somebody is somebody that's just not comfortable in their own skin. I mean, I've seen women that go to the beach and they wear too skimpy of a bikini, and you can tell they're not comfortable. They're fidgeting all the time, trying to get the straps just right. And then there's the women that just, they get to the beach like a dude. If you've got shorts on and you've got something underneath, they just take their shorts off, take their shirt off, lay their towel out, boom, they're down there. So, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, there is no ideal body type, and even when you are talking about attraction, I mean, I think sometimes females think that, well, and also too, I was talking to somebody about this, but we were talking about fake boobs one day, and the specific part of that is not important, and I don't know. We just kind of came to the conclusion that women are complaining about, you know, the things that society kind of expects, or kind of the way they judge females. But I think you just need to take society out of the equation and do what makes you happy. Now I know, and I've got friends that are doing this. Actually, there's been a run on girls lately. I can't think of the last one of my friends that's had a boy. I've got a lot of friends that are raising girls, and I know what one of the concerns is. Yeah, but this puts a bad image in the, you know, when we're raising daughters. Well, I'll tell you this. You have to take control. This is something, I may not be a parent, but this is common sense. You have to be the #1 influencer in your children's life. That's a cop-out when you're like talking about how society does this, and you know they put these ideas in kids. No, 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 no. It's the same way I get kind of annoyed when people want to make a big thing about when an athlete does something and, oh, he's a role model, he shouldn't have done that. An athlete shouldn't be a role model. You should be the role model in your children's lives. You should be shaping what goes on in their head. Now, yeah, you can't be with them 24/7, but I know a lot of really cool parents that are raising some really aware kids, and they don't leave it to chance to let society get into their kids' heads, to let other kids get into their kids' heads. They lay down a pretty good foundation for their children. But this thing's never going to end. It's like don't get sucked in. Every time that there's something that comes out to do with body image, if you don't have exactly the body image you want, do not get sucked into all these dramas and all this back and forth, because it's not going to change, because that's where the money is. There's money in fashion, and there's money in changing the looks and changing the looks of the models. It's all manipulation. It's all manipulation to keep a huge industry going, which includes the fashion industry, which includes the cosmetic industry, which includes a lot of aspects of the health and exercise fitness industry. It all works together, and it's like the puppet masters, the people that control all this stuff. They're just filtering all this stuff. They're running you around. They're playing you. You know, they've got you on strings, and they know when they pull this string, you're going to dance a certain way, and you're supposed to dance a certain way, because any publicity is good publicity. That's advertising rule #1, or that's public relations rule #1. So when they can get these little controversies started, like, oh, she's being called a plus-size model by Sports Illustrated, blah, blah, blah. All people hear over and over, Sports Illustrated, Sports Illustrated, Sports Illustrated, Sports Illustrated. And they just continue to sell more and more magazines. So you can't feed into the whole industry. They're the industries that try to shape your mind through these body image things. Listen, #1, just be happy and healthy. Be happy in your skin no matter where you are. If you're not happy with your body image, here's the only suggestion I would give you, is to look into getting healthy. I'm so much a believer in this, that if you know, instead of focusing on, okay, I want to lose 80 pounds, okay, I want to chisel my arms, okay, I want to do this. If we focus as men or women on getting healthy and eating healthy, reasonably healthy, and getting a reasonable amount of exercise, not talking about killing yourself in the gym or killing yourself with any kind of regimen, the body is going to settle into the place where it should be. So I will say that over and over again. Focus on your health, and the aesthetic, the outside, the appearance thing will work itself out. It's always, it's always going to be like that. If we focus on the health, being healthy above appearances, we will be okay in almost any subject we want to discuss, or any conflict. If we just focus on our health, the rest of the stuff will work itself out. So, ladies, the takeaway from this is women are beautiful generally because of their attitude. The looks are just like, I don't want to say they're false, because hey, I'm a man, I'm not going to lie to you. I like what I like, and I'm attracted to certain women. But there's always a fact, and I'm attracted on a physical basis. I mean, anybody that tells you they're not attracted to the opposite sex on a physical basis at some point, they're probably lying to you. But there's also a lot of other factors that go in there. And but the sexiest thing, the best thing is what's going on upstairs, and the attitude with how you carry yourself, be you male or female. Anyhow, just a little rambling on a Saturday afternoon. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. Hope you're not having super cold weather where you are. I heard that the groundhog saw a shadow, or didn't see a shadow. Whatever was supposed to happen, supposed to be some more winter, but I'm not betting on the groundhog this year. I'm betting the groundhog is wrong and you got some spring-like weather coming sooner than you think. Anyhow, thanks for joining me today. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Hope you'll subscribe to the channel, and I love each and every one of you guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.